2 weeks ago, I presented a video called Cooking with Hydrogen 101. It was about using my handy-dandy gas stove cooker that's usually for barbecues and campgrounds, but I converted it to hydrogen. I cooked a nice tasty meal on this. You saw a vast array of food selections that I cooked, from steaks to burgers to hash browns and eggs and bacon. Everybody loves bacon. Well, I don't need to walk through the whole operation of this stove again, but what I do want to show you, since we're talking about appliances in the home, I want to give this thing a fire up, and just so you can kind of get an idea, give the gas feed as you hear, and then it'll start up. Hold it in for just a couple of seconds to let the thermocouple get warmed up. And now it's running on its own. You may be able to hear that. And let me turn up the hydrogen. As you can hear that, I'm sure. And yeah, that is getting warm. So I'll shut this down, turn that off, and turn off the hydrogen feed. This is just another example of the appliances that people can use in their home. Another anti-hydrogen card they play against the usage of hydrogen in the home. Opponents claim hydrogen leaks out of everything. Well, this is also a fabrication and intentional spread of misinformation. So here in the lab environment, we have several home appliances that I converted over to hydrogen. And as you can see, they operate easily and safely, and there's no hydrogen explosion during the operation. Let's do an actual hydrogen gas leak test to prove the fact that if prepared properly, hydrogen doesn't leak out of joints and pipes and tubes. So what I'm going to do is take this propane torch that I've converted over to hydrogen operation, but I can still operate it on propane. So I'm going to hook up the torch to the propane tank, conventional propane feed. This is a 20-pound tank. Make sure it's on there nice and tight. And then I will make sure that the feed is off. I'll turn on the propane feed. And I have here a bottle of very foamy soap in water. And the test will be putting this liquid on possible leaks. Now what will happen is that if there was a leak here in this joint, there would be bubbles blowing up, just like we used to do as a kid. So as you can see, there's no leak there. And I'll bring the handle up and show you. There's no leak here, and there's no leak there on any of those joints. No bubbles at all. So what I will do here is I will create a leak. Now I'm going to turn off the gas. Turn it off here. I'm going to loosen up this joint just slightly. Turn on the propane. I can actually smell the propane already. And let's do a leak test. Now what you see there is bubbles that are being created because the propane is leaking out of that joint. It's actually a compression joint. I will shut off the propane, clean that off, tighten that back up, turn on the propane, give it a little splash of the soap, and as you see, there's no bubbles. There's nothing leaking. So now let's turn this off and prepare this for hydrogen leak test. Okay, now that we have everything hooked up, I'll turn on the hydrogen. There is gas flow. This valve is turned off. And what do we have? There is no bubbles coming out of here. No hydrogen is leaking out of this handle at all, or any of the joints. Now, to prove this is hydrogen, because I know there's going to be the doubters. You saw this torch lit up with hydrogen, and I'm going to repeat it again. I'll turn on the valve. You'll hear the hydrogen. There's the hydrogen flame. Let me turn up that flame. You'll see the ball valve. And there's that hydrogen flame. So no one can tell me that I finagled this feed line that's not hydrogen, or that it's some other feed line off of some propane tank hidden in the background. Here it is all the way up past 60 cubic feet per hour for that hydrogen flame. So I'm going to shut this off, close the valve down, do another leak test. And you can see there is no bubbles coming out of those joints. So once again, we have proof that the claims of hydrogen opponents and naysayers and fearmongers about hydrogen has no foundation of truth. And again, I have to express a word of caution here. This is not something that you go just buy in a hardware store and plug in a hydrogen tube and fire these things up. That's not the way it works. So do not try to do this at home. As it is safe for hydrogen to be used in the home, it is a new form of gas that has particular attributes and dynamics during the combustion that must be understood by the user to ensure safety and ease of use. As you can see, all of the misinformation and so-called hydrogen danger opponents are trying to spread has no basis. But it is to say, like any other combustible gas, you need to understand it and treat it with caution and not take unnecessary risk using hydrogen. Now, I've saved the best for last. This is our star in the universe as far as home appliances are concerned. This is a gas-powered water heater. Now, this is very similar to the European tankless water heaters that you see, very similar to what you would see in Europe in kitchens and homes that heat up the water for taking showers and baths and hot water for washing dishes. So this gas water heater and this gas tankless water heater is much more sophisticated than the room heaters and our stove, but it does work off of a piezoelectric starter. So I can control the water flow, I can control the temperature, I can control the gas feed as well. So let's fire this baby up and give you a little demo, but I'm not gonna walk through the whole entire operation of this because it deserves its own video, but I wanna kind of show you just the basic fundamentals. So we'll turn on the water. And it does have a controller where you see once the water is flowing, the temperature is going to start going up, 66 degrees, 68, 70 degrees. I can increase the gas, the hydrogen gas going into that to get a higher temperature. Turn down the water supply. So you can see how easily that works. I'm going to dedicate a video entirely to this tankless water heater. I hope you enjoyed this educational video on hydrogen in the home, but keep in mind, hydrogen is as safe as you handle it. So look forward to the upcoming video on my tankless gas water heater. And until then, have a great day and look for the next video.